Have you ever had that uneasy knot in your stomach when watching your child play with a certain friend? Maybe there are no big shouting matches, physical bullying, or obvious fights, and instead, it's a quiet shift. You notice your child is suddenly more anxious, or second guessing themselves, or unusually secretive after a play date. When we talk about psychological manipulation or toxic dynamics, we almost always focus on adult relationships. We look at workplaces, marriages, or high conflict family systems, but sophisticated control tactics don't just appear out of thin air when someone turns 25. They are often practiced and refined right on the elementary school playground through what we call relational aggression. If your gut is telling you that your child's friendship feels less like mutual play and more like a subtle system of control, you're not overreacting. Children are entirely capable of quiet, covert manipulation, and it is completely okay for you to step in. Today, we are exposing 4 subtle toxic tactics that relationally aggressive children use to dominate peers. We'll explore the psychological roots behind these behaviors and actionable ways that you can protect your child's well-being. If your child's best friend is telling them who they can and cannot sit with at lunch, that isn't playground drama. It's the early stage of social isolation. This looks like a child dictating exactly who your child is allowed to talk to sit with at lunch, or to play with at recess. They might say, if you play with her, you can't be my friend anymore. It creates an artificial dependency, making your child feel like compliance is the only way to avoid social exile. The second tactic is triangulation. This happens when a child intentionally uses a third peer to manufacture jealousy and competition. They will praise one child while freezing out another, forcing the children to compete for their favor. By controlling who talks to whom, the manipulative child keeps everyone divided and ensures they remain the boss of the group. The third tactic involves breaking down parental authority. The most concerning thing a relationally aggressive friend can do is slowly drive a wedge between you and your child. This happens when a friend actively models and encourages your child to lie to you, to steal small items, or hide things. You might also notice this child speaking down to you or other adults with a distinct air of contempt. This isn't just innocent mischief. It weakens your child's trust in you, their primary safety net. If a manipulative child can break a peer's alliance with their parents, they gain total control over that child. And finally, there's intermittent reinforcement, or the hot-cold game. One day, this friend showers your child with affection and declares them their ultimate best friend and brings them gifts. And then the very next day, for no apparent reason, they offer cold indifference, or the silent treatment, or casual cruelty. This keeps your child's nervous system in a constant state of threat. They become hyper-focused on winning back that initial approval, mistaking the relief of being accepted again for true friendship. When you see a young child acting with the precision of a seasoned adult manipulator, it's easy to feel angry. But to protect your child, you have to understand the why behind the behavior. Children do not invent these complex psychological strategies out of nowhere. An 8-year-old who manipulates their friends don't do it because they are a criminal mastermind. They do it because they are terrified. First, children usually learn these behaviors from their surroundings. A child who manipulates others is often just repeating a survival strategy they have seen at home, in an unpredictable environment, or at school, where power and control are the only things that matter. Second, for these children, control equals safety. A child who hyper-regulates and manipulates their peers usually lacks internal emotional regulation. Because their own internal world feels completely unsafe, they attempt to force stability on their external world by controlling the people around them. A child's disrespect towards adults is often a defense mechanism. It usually stems from feeling powerless, unseen, or dismissed in their own home environment. So, how do you handle this as a parent when the behavior is so subtle? Well, first, you label the behavior and not the child. If you tell your child, Sarah is a bad kid, your child's natural instinct will be to defend their friend, which can drive the behavior underground. So instead, focus on the behavior. Say, when someone tells you who you are allowed to talk to, that is called control. True friendships don't require you to give up other people. Second, remind your child of your family values. If the friend has encouraged lying or hiding things, address it immediately but calmly. Connect it to safety, not just rules. You can say, in our house, the truth means you never have to carry a problem alone. We don't keep secrets because we handle everything together. So if a friend asks you to hide something from me, they are asking you to break our family values and rules. Third, shift the scenery and limit contact. You cannot always control who your child sits next to at school, but you can control your calendar. Quietly reduce the number of play dates they have. When they do hang out, avoid drop-off play dates. Bring the interaction under your roof where you can supervise and redirect the play. But if the child actively pressures your child to lie, steal, and turn them against you, limit contact completely. Your child's safety always comes before politeness. Recognizing these quiet control dynamics is the first step to keeping your child feeling safe and confident. If this helped you put words to something you've been witnessing, hit the subscribe button so that we can continue making sense of these complex relational patterns together. I want to thank you so much for joining me.